This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, let's start today's session. My voice audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So in today's session, we will be seeing the continuation of yesterday's discussion only. Yesterday we have seen something called the different data types, the primitive data types. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, it is.
Thank you. So what we are going to discuss today is typecasting. That is, so far we have seen something like if I'm dealing with lower range of data, that is less than 127, then I'll be using byte. If I'm using a larger range like 32,000 around that, then I'll be using short. If I want a even larger range, then I will go for int and long. This was the one we have discussed in the earlier session. Now we are going to see something called typecasting. Typecasting is nothing but when you are declaring a variable. Like so far it is directly you're assigning a number. Now what we are going to do is you declare a variable. Let's take an example of two variables, that is int a and byte n. If I want to assign the value of n equal to a or a equal to n, how it's going to behave, that's what we are going to see. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a demo itself. So I'm creating, so this is how we used to go, like for every topic I'll be creating a new demo file, and in the demo file I'll be adding all the relevant code, like what and all we are discussing as part of this session will be written in that particular file, so that apart from theoretical knowledge you will come to know the real time experience also. So I'm planning to create a new file. So it is in the same package of com.company. So what I'm doing, I'm right clicking on this, selecting new Java class. So in the Java class, I'm going to give a name. Today's topic is typecasting. So I'm going to give the relevant name, that is what and all we are going to do in the file. I'll be giving that as the file name itself. So typecast demo is the file name I'm giving. Then I'm pressing the enter button in my keyboard. When I do like that, a new file will be created. So going forward, this is the file I'll be using for the typecasting demo related activities. So inside this file, if you see, it is automatically providing me the skeleton. That is, the very first thing is package com.company I'm getting. Under that, I'm having a class called typecast class. So the class name and the file name is same. So if I want to execute something, I want to give the static method. So shortcut to create the static method in IntelliJ is PSVM. So I'm typing only PSVM, that is public static void main. After I click on that, I'm clicking on the enter button. So my main method is ready. So inside this main method only, I'm going to write the code which I'm planning to show as a demo in today's session. So first what I'm doing is I'm initializing, I'm declaring a variable called b, and for this I'm assigning a value 5. So whenever I do, so just for your understanding, I'm saying when you do a development, you won't keep these things in mind, but to recollect something, I'm saying when you define a byte, in the background, in your memory, 1 byte will be allocated. Okay, just for your understanding, I'm saying don't be cautious when you do a development. We won't be keeping these things when you define a variable and all. For you, like we are in the initial stage, so I'm telling like this. Then I am initializing, I'm declaring a variable n, and nothing, I'm not doing anything. So what I'm planning to do here is I'm planning to assign this. So I know the b is of type byte and n is of type integer. So now I'm planning to assign this b, that is the number 5, into n. So for that, what I'm doing is n equal to b. So I'm doing like this. So again, I'm saying I'm initializing, I'm declaring two different variables. One variable is b, another variable is n. The b is of type byte and n is of type integer. And instead of assigning some value like this n equal to 5, what I'm doing here is I am saying n equal to b, because in b also I have the value of 5. So whenever I declare an integer, it will allocate 5 bytes to me in the memory. So now what I'm doing, I'm assigning this b into n. So let's print and see what's happening. So I'm printing b alone, and I'll say b, and I'll be printing n here. So two different things I'm printing here. Not a big logic here. Just I am adding these values alone. So now what I did, um, I'm running two different statements. One is I'm printing B and I'm printing N. Two different things I'm doing. Then I'm running this program. When I run this program, in both B and N, it is having same value. This is what I want to achieve because I want to assign a value of 5 into the integer N. I'm able to achieve it. But background, what I did, I'm assigning one data type value into another data type. So from the byte, I'm assigning the value to integer. So this is called, okay, I'm able to achieve it, but I'm not getting any error. It is straight away accepting. Why it is straight away accepting? Because of this rule alone. Whenever you try to assign the value of lower range into the higher range, that is from byte to integer, you are trying to assign it, so it doesn't create any problem. It is working good. This is called implicit typecasting. So assigning one data type to another data type is called typecasting. In this typecasting, there are two types. One is implicit typecasting. That is, whenever you try to assign from a lower range value into the higher range value, you won't get any problem. You can straight away use it because it's already in the lower range. It has 1 byte of data that I'm planning to assign to a 4 byte of data. So obviously, I'm not getting any error. So this is fine. This type of typecasting is called implicit typecasting. So again, I'm reiterating what is typecasting. If you are assigning one data type variable value to the another data type value, then it is called typecasting. You are casting the two different data types. If you are trying to do an assignment, in your right side you have a lower range, in your left side if you have the higher range, you won't get any error at all and it will automatically work properly. This is called implicit typecasting. For example, I'm doing the vice versa now. So what I'm planning to do here is I'm planning to give some, I'll remove all this code to avoid confusion. I'm removing all this code. So what I'm doing is I am initializing one byte B and I am declaring N, and here I'm assigning a value of 5. Okay. Now what I feel is I want to save the value 5 in my byte. If I want to do like this, obviously what I will do, B equal to N. I will specify like this. So this is what we had done in the previous example also. I want the value of B into N. So I did N equal to B. It worked fine for me. But when I do the reverse way, it is throwing me an error. When I mouse over, it will say that required is byte but provided is integer. Yes, it is correct because I am trying to assign the integer data type N into the byte variable B. So that is not accepted because byte means it's obviously 1 byte of data only it can accommodate, but this integer has 4 bytes memory allocator. When I try to assign, obviously I will get some problem. But still I want to proceed with this. I see that it is 5 only, right? So number 5 is within the byte range. Whichever is less than 127, I can very well assign. Why I have to stop it? Yes, you don't need to stop. You can very well assign the value by doing some small modification. You have to write a code explicitly for that. In previous case, it worked as it is. You didn't write any code, but here you have to write one small code change. So what it is, I have to introduce the casting. That is, temporarily, I will change this integer, that is n variable, into byte, and I will assign to b. Some temporary manipulation I'm doing. So I'm writing one small code, that is within the bracket, I'm typing byte, which means that temporarily I'm modifying this integer into a byte and then I'm assigning to the byte variable b. Now byte variable is able to accommodate that and it's not throwing me any error. This type of typecasting is called explicit typecasting because I'm manually doing it. I'm writing a code for it. The range is not within the expected range. So I'm getting a compilation error. To avoid the compilation error, I'm introducing a temporary manipulation. Explicitly, I'm telling the program that please change the integer to a byte and assign the value to a variable b. I'm giving a command. So this is called explicit typecasting. So as usual, I'll be printing the values. So here I'll be printing n. Here I'll be printing the value of b. So I'm going to run this program. Want to check whether the b has the proper value because I wrote a code, so I want to see whether it is getting the 5 into the b variable. So let's run this and see. Yes, it is working fine. So in both n and b, I'm able to store a value of number 5 by introducing a explicit typecasting because both are all from two different categories. One is from byte data type, another from a integer data type. It's not able to match it, but I'm giving an instruction stating that temporarily you behave like a byte and assign the value to b variable. It is done. So this is called explicit. But personally, when you ask me, I won't recommend this. So when and all you will get this problem and how to avoid it, let's see the real-time examples. We'll take the example of online shopping itself. When you are doing a coding, when you feel that like online shopping, the same you are ordering a shoe. Obviously, we know that shoe size will be lesser than some range. It won't go beyond 20 or 30 kind of thing. But we know that it is less than some number, some 20. It's less than 20. 20 itself is a big number. Just consider that shoe size won't go beyond 20. That is our understanding. By keeping that understanding alone, you can't go and do a development because developer means you should think all the ways and all possible ways. Like you should think in a user point of view also. When somebody is logging into your shopping app, if you give a size chart or if you give a predefined options like a drop down kind of thing, like select the size, and if you prompt with a size from 6 to some 20, the user will select only within the range. But if you give a text box, if you give the option to the user itself to enter the value, there are some mistake. They will type instead of size 8, they will type 80. Zero possible. They can click it. Instead of 1 8, they might click 2 8s or 3 8s because of their keyboard problems. In that case, what will happen is you thought that it is a shoe size. Obviously, the size will be less than 20. So you would have initialized a variable with the byte data type and you would have done the process. You would have done the coding based upon the byte variable. By mistakenly, the user has clicked the button twice. Instead of 8, he entered 88, or instead of 8, he typed 888. Okay, 888. And that value is passed to your program. And the byte, obviously, it can't accommodate the 888 value, that is 888, and it will crash your code. So for that, what they will do is either they will go to integer. They will, instead of declaring a byte, they will go to integer. When you go to integer, you will solve the problem temporarily, but it is not the good recommendation when you consider a memory allocation, because for a shoe size, why you are unnecessarily going to a integer, that is 4 bytes of thing. In coming back to the other best practices is, as I told you, you have to give a drop down or you have to give a predefined option to the user that they can select only the range which you want to enter. You can specify that from size 6 to 20. If they want to enter, they can enter within the range only. You can give the predefined data instead of giving the options to the user. If you are planning to give a free text, again you can have some check in the UI itself. That is, you can add a code. If it is greater than some value, you can show some alert to the user stating that you have entered a invalid data. Please go and recheck. Something you can give a valid validation. This is the way you can give. For doing all those things, the main point here is there will be usually separate team for backend and UI. That is, backend developers would be different, UI developer will be different. So very rarely one person will do end to end. That is, he will do backend also or UI also. But in a big organization, obviously, Backend developers will be different, UI developer will be different. So two different people will be working. So the good practice, what I feel is, whenever you are assigned with any task in the backend, if you are a backend developer, then have a good rapport with the UI and give the UI developer stating that I am planning to define like this in the backend. So please have proper validation or proper coding in the UI itself so that you can avoid the problem in the backend. So the team collaboration is one of the good practice. So clearly document things and clearly hand it over to the UI developer. This is what I'm planning to design in my backend. So you have to handle it properly in the UI. By doing such collaboration, you can avoid this problem. But still, if you avoid, like you missed all those things, means you can go for the typecasting. In typecasting, there is a flaw. I'll tell that also. So in your interview question, if they are giving any debugging session, they will give this question to you, so you can expect also. So I showed you a demo that I have assigned the integer n equal to 5 and I did a explicit typecasting and I'm getting the same value. No problem, it is working fine. But again, this explicit typecasting, it's not the guaranteed way to do the typecasting. Why? Let's see. For example, if my value of n is 50,000 and I'm doing a typecasting and I'm planning to print the value of b. As per my expectation, both n and b, the variable n and b should have the same data. Because I did a typecasting, right? I gave an instruction to Java stating that temporarily convert this n equal to some value. But in real time, it won't happen because you see, the value of n and b are different. Why here is, how much ever I try to convert to a lower range, if I give an instruction as byte and when I try to change also, end of the day, B is of byte data type. I can't change that. So in that case, it try to do some conversion and finally end up in some random numbers. Some number I'm getting instead of the expected value. So this is called, wait, sorry, I missed this point. I made a mistake here actually. I should print n instead of 5. Okay. So the n is 50,000, but the value of b is 80. Why it is like that? Because for n it is okay. It is an integer data type and it can print it, no problem at all. But for the byte data type, it is not able to accommodate such a big range. Even though we are trying to use a explicit typecasting, it is giving me some random number. That's why we won't prefer this typecasting. As much as possible, you try to avoid it by using the best practices I have shared now. So having a good collaboration or proper designing, proper discussion, understanding the requirement properly. By doing all those things, you can very well avoid this situation. In worst scenario, you can go for it, but still there will be a flaw because of the range we are using. Okay. So next what we are going to see in today's discussion is getting the input from user. So everywhere, wherever you go, whether you are going for online shopping or any other website you are going, you have to get some data from the user. You have to get something from the user. Based upon the data only, you will change the your website content itself. Say I'm landing to online shopping. In online shopping, today I plan to buy a shirt. So what I will do, once I log into that, I'll be giving a input to the application stating that there will be a number of products, lakhs and lakhs of products would be there. But I'm least worried about all the products in that application. I'm looking for a shirt for today's shopping. So I will go and give an input to the system, that is input to the application stating that I will type shirt or I will type a mobile, whatever maybe I will type and I will click on enter. Once I click on enter, it will do the search in the background and it will filter and show only the product which I'm looking for, only the data which is related to that input I gave. If I say shirt, it will give me the list of shirts available in the application. That is the online shopping application, it will list up. Then what I will do is I will give few more inputs. That filter I will be using. I want a shirt of size 39 or some M size, L size, something I will be giving. So that input, again, it's an input I'm giving to the application. So whenever you are dealing, so this IT world is full of data. So that we have to keep it in our mind. Whatever you are doing, whatever coding you are doing, everything is revolving around the data only. So we should know how to read the data from the user. So in Java, it is we have some predefined classes for that. If you take other programming languages and all, it will be a bit straightforward. Like in C, if you take, we will be using printf and scanf. In C++, it is C in and C out. So C in for like input, C out to print it. But in Java, we have to use a inbuilt class which is called scanner. So in this session, I'll be covering scanner also. For the demo, I'm creating a new Java class as usual. Right click on the package level, select new Java class. Then I'm saying scanner demo. So it is creating one new file for me. My class file should have a main method, then only I can execute. Now you can see I have a class file. You can't see the green color triangle here, that is the run button, you can't see. Once I had this public static void main only, I can see. It means that this particular class has become executable after this main method addition only. So please don't forget. I myself have seen, like when we are going for a coding practice, a person would have done good in the theoretical part. When I ask him to write a code, then that time, because of some other pressure or something else, what they will do, they will miss the very basic thing is they won't add this main method and start writing the classes, start writing the methods. So it will create n number of errors. They will get errors and they will get confused. I'm writing the code properly. Why this particular ID is giving me error, or why this particular editor is giving me an error? They can't judge it, and because of that, most of the time they can't finish the program on time. But only one small mistake. What mistake they have done? They forgot to add the main method, and it creates some problem. So keep it in mind. If you want to execute a class, if you want to run a class, it should have a main method. So I'm adding the main method. So inside this main method, one simple text only we are going to do, not much logic. What and all I explained to you now. That is, I'm planning to buy a shirt. So I'm going to say, for example, somebody is logging into my application, and I'm asking him, like, what do you want? Then they are saying, I want a shirt. Then again, I'm saying, well, what is the size you're preferring? Then they will give me a size. So this is what we are going to demonstrate, how to read the data from the user and how to print it in the console. So only two steps we are going to see, because scanner, this is basic thing you should know. So using the scanner, you can get the input, you can read the input. So getting input from user is the topic we are going to see now. So for this, what I'm going to do is simple thing, as I told you, I'm going to use the inbuilt class. So this is a class. So there are some different annotations we'll be using in the IDE. Whenever you see, I hope my screen is visible. You can see a small circle, and before the small circle, like before the scanner, there will be a small circle, and inside the small circle, you can see something called C. C stands for class. So the particular scanner is a class. When you are using some methods, it will say M. When you are using a field, so it will say F. So based upon that, you can segregate, you can easily identify what it is. So now I'm going to use something called scanner, and scanner is in the part of a package called java.util. So this is the inbuilt package available. I told you, right, in the beginning itself, there is a folder called external libraries. That library will have all the predefined jars or libraries which is needed for my development. So inside one of the jar file, I can have the code. So some other developer, Java developer, already write this scanner related code and has given the jar files to us. And that jar file we are adding in our class path and we are using for our development. Again, this is also a Java code only. Somebody has already written and kept it ready for us. That we are readily using, and we are extending our code using the base which is already available. So scanner is there. So this is a class. So obviously we have to create an object. So what is class object? Any will cover in the subsequent sessions. For now, we just keep one thing in mind. Whenever you have a class, when you want to access the class, you need an object. So how we can create an object is OPJ. So scanner object I'm planning to create. So I am planning to introduce like this. New keyword we have to use, then only we can create it. So inside this, I'll be giving something called system.in, some argument I'm planning to give. So I'm giving something called system dot in. So this is an input. I'm planning to read the input. So now my object is ready. What is this object is ready means there is a predefined class available and there is a jar file available for that. I've added in the class part. Everything is fine. But whether I'm using that in my class or not, when I will decide by creating an object. Once I create an object only, I'm giving an instruction to the class file that in this class file, in the class scanner demo class file, I'm going to use this scanner related code. So I'm creating a copy of the class I'm planning to use it. So the very first question what we will be asking, so some question, some meaningful question I want to show in the UI. So what I'm going to add here, some text I'm going to show in the UI. So that is called what is what we can do. We can okay, something like this. I will ask when you are doing what do you want. Okay, you're asking the user. So user what is going to do is going to type something like a shirt. That's what he is going to do. So that one I have to read it. How can I read it? By using this object. So scanner.object, I'm saying that whenever you see a next line, that is after the user types shirt, they have to press enter. Whenever a enter is pressed, read the data and save it somewhere. So somewhere means obviously the shirt, it's a word. So word means I'm planning to use a string data type. So I'm saying that whenever for this question, what do you want question, whenever somebody is typing whatever, it can be shirt, shoe, jewelry, cosmetics, whatever maybe, once they type the text and press enter, then read the data and save it to a string called product. So let's print. So we want to confirm whether it is getting the value or not, right? So I'm going to print and see. I'm going to validate whether I'm capturing the data proper. So what I did, right, again I'm saying I have created an object for the inbuilt class scanner. Using this object, I'm reading the input from the user and I'm storing into a string data type variable product. Why I'm using string? Because I'm going to get some input which is series of like sequence of characters would be there. It is not one character. I'll be short means obviously SHIRT, some 5 digits, 5 characters I'll be getting. So I'm using a string data type and that I'm printing it here. So for that I'm using a regular output statement system.out.println and I'm printing product. Instead of just saying product, I want to see some relevant like understandable output. So I'm planning to say product means something. Product means shirt, something I want to get. So I'm having my code inside the double quotes, this product inside the quotes, or the customer want anything I can get. The customer want, then it will say product. Let me run and show you so that you will get some clarity. So first when I run it,
So the main objective of scanner is to capture the response from user. Whatever they are entering, it is just used to capture that response, right?
exactly, it is like getting input from user, reading the
Okay.
input from user. Okay.
Okay.
So when I
Yeah.
run it, good. When I run it, so this is what the question I'm getting. So I have to take the control, that is I have to click it once, then only the control will go to this terminal. So usually people, the mistake what they do is without taking the control here, that you have to click it at least once by taking your mouse next to this point and click it. If they don't do, obviously whatever they type, it will type in your source code itself. So again, these are small mistakes we do. So I'm telling upfront. And anyhow, when you practice by yourself, you can understand. But it's my point, like I will tell upfront itself. So I'm going to type something called shirt. So after typing shirt, it is thinking that you can see still it is blinking. It means that still it's expecting some input from me. By giving a delimiter, usually semicolon is the delimiter. Delimiter means it is the end. I'm saying to the Java program that it's all instruction. So set of instruction is a program, right? So I'm saying that this particular instruction is completed. End of line, we'll say. Then the second set will come. So whenever you want to break your instructions, you have to give semicolon in your coding. Excuse me. Similarly, in your terminal, when you want to break it, you have to press enter. So I'm going to press enter in my keyboard. Once I enter, now you can see. So it is stating that the customer want shirt. So whatever input I give, so next time when I visit the same application, the online shopping application, if I say shoe, then it will say the customer wants shoe. So ultimately what we are doing is we are reading the input from the user and we are storing it in a variable. For you to understand, I'm printing in the console itself, but in the real time what they will do is if I get the input from the user, shoe, shirt, whatever may be, they will go to the database and they will try to get the data related to the product entered by user. There will be thousands of shoes available in the gallery, and there will not only the shoes. If they have a online shopping, it will have shoes, shirt, jewelry, everything, right? Out of the thousands or 10,000s of pictures in the gallery, it will pull only the picture related to the product. If I say shoe, it will pull only the picture related to shoe and it will show it in the UI. So some activity it will do in the background, but for you to understand, I'm just capturing the data and printing in the UI. Real time, we will have some business logic on top of the scanning object. So now it is done. Next, if I want to capture the data related, like I got like a shoe, the next question is size. So we have to ask the question, what size you are preferring? What size? So next here, I have to use the same scanner object. Instead of saying that next line, I have to say next int, because size, like obviously I'll be entering some numbers only. So I'll be using next int. This is for next line is to capture the string. If you suspect that the user will enter a string, then you can go next line. Next line is the method available in the scanner. So when I mouse over, you can very well see. Can you see this one? It is already available. Next line is the one available in the scanner class. If I want to read a integer, some number, I can go for next int, and again I can define a local variable called size and I can capture this data. Again, this size, I can use it to search it in my database. If I have thousands of shoes, then next to search what next filter will be based upon size. So in the 1,000 shoes, I have to pick and show only the size number 9 related photos in the screen. So that I'll be doing. So instead of going to database, I'm just printing here preferred size is, I'm going to print it here. So two things I've done. One is like I'm asking a string related question. So I created a string and I captured the data. For that, there is an inbuilt method available. That is inside the scanner class. There is a method called next line, which will help me to read it. So here you can see the content in IDE. This is the advantage. If you see any code, you can very well see it here. So it will give the definition also. That's why I won't prefer you guys to memorize the definitions. It will be available in your IDE itself. So advances the scanner, pass the current line and returns the input that was skipped. this method, it's saying it is a method, okay? This method returns the rest of the current line, excluding any line separator at the end. The position is set to the beginning of the next line. So this is what it's doing. So whenever I press enter, it will capture what and all it is already typed in the screen, and it is storing into a variable, and that variable I can use it for my business processing. So now I'm taking this cursor and I'm typing Q. I pressed enter. So now it's asking what's the size. I'm saying 9. Then again enter. So this is what is happening. So I can easily read a string. I can easily read a integer. So do I have to use only this? No. There are so many methods available. If you are planning to read a boolean, then you can use next bool. If you are planning to read a short, okay, you can use short. So based upon the data types which you are preferring, you can use the related method. It is all available. So I would like to show one thing. It will be beyond the scope, but still it will be good to know what is the inbuilt classes and all. So you can see scanner.java. So what I did is I just mouse over the scanner in my code, and it's giving me a definition. So what I did is I press the control key. So I'm holding the control key in my keyboard, and I am doing one left click. Okay. So it is doing one file Java. So this is the inbuilt file I was referring. It is part of the package. The Java package itself is providing this to me. So it is the already existing code. Somebody has already wrote. It is part of the package, and I'm referring it. I didn't write any code for this. So this particular class has all the method which I'm looking for, some predefined activities and all already written, and I'm going to use it. So whenever you find time, whenever you come across any inbuilt classes and all, you can very well go through this file. It will have n number of lines, whether you are using or not, it will be there in your package. Whenever you need, you can create an object for this and you can use it in your class files. I am showing this. If you are new to Java, you may not be doing knowing all those things. If you already did some coding, you know what is the package or inbuilt classes and all. But I'm talking for the newcomers who doesn't know anything about Java, who doesn't know anything about IDE. So this is what we do. So whenever there is an inbuilt class available, and when you want to access some of the methods, you can very well open the class like this, and you can go to the predefined method available, and that method you can use it in your coding. So full code itself will be available. So what is the line pattern method will do, what is the return type, everything you can see. Based upon that, you can do the coding. So this is not in the even without knowing this file, you can very well go through the demo which I showed you, but it is an additional information. So we are planning for a end-to-end developer, right? From beginner to a advanced Java developer. So you should know all these small things which is available in your coding. So that's why I'm telling you now. So coming back to our discussion, so I told you for different data types, you can use differently. One tricky question. So this question you can expect in your interview. What it is? They will give you a task that they will say that using scanner, read 3 inputs. That is, get 3 inputs from user and print it. What are those 3 inputs? First is get the name of the user. Second, get the contact number of the user. Third thing is get the email address. So get these 3 things and print it in the UI. When you hear this interview question, you will feel that yes, it's really simple why they are giving in the coding session. You will get it, but there is a tricky part here. I'll tell you now. There is a flaw in the coding we are doing. I told you, right? First, let me write the interview question itself. Okay. First thing is, I'll remove this. Okay. First thing is, I'm going to ask the user, what is your name? So user will give me some input. I'll be storing in the string. So scanner object I'll be using. Next line, and I will get it. Good. Then I can print it. That name I'm planning to print. So I'm using this statement. plus is the concatenation symbol. Concatenation is nothing but you are in English literal, what is the same meaning here also it is there. That is concatenation. You are merging two different things. You are concatenating two different things. Here also, this is the value of variable name. So whatever it is there in the variable, it will print here. But prior to that, I want to have some meaningful string. Instead of just typing shoe, shirt, I don't have any clue, right? So what I do, product, the preferred product is customer has selected some text, some readable text I'm planning to add. That I will give it inside the double quotes. Then I want to print the exact value. So two different things I want to print in the same statement. So I want to concatenate these two things by using a plus symbol. This is called concatenation operator. So this is we will be using regularly in a program. So first thing what I did, so I'll try to use a comment also so that you can recollect our previous session. So comment means what I told. Whenever you want to add some meaningful instructions so that your follow developer see they can understand. So what I'm going to use, I'm going to use a single line comment here. So here I'm saying that getting name from user. So I'm just giving information. This particular code won't be executed. This is for my understanding purpose, some readable purpose I'm adding this. Next thing is getting contact number. I want to get a contact number details. So again, contact number means I have to ask the user, please enter your contact number. When I say that, obviously user will enter the contact number. I want to read it. So read what I will be using. Next int. So I will read it. Contact number means 10 digit. Let me use long itself. So int contact equal to. So I'm reading this contact number and storing into a variable called contact. Now I'm going to print it. So again for printing, contact number is something I'm putting and I'm adding this contact. Next, what is the next assignment my interviewer has given me? He asked me to get the email address also. So getting email address. Email address means it is a sequence of characters. So I can very well use the string data type here. So please enter the email address, and I'm saying that in string data type, please capture this data and next line. Okay, string means the next line, right? So here I'm planning to type email address is, I'm planning to print. Is this code clear? Any doubt in this? I got a requirement from my interviewer that get 3 inputs from user. One is the name of the user, next contact number, third is email address. So as per our understanding, that is to get some inputs, we will be using the scanner object. If it is an integer, we'll be using next line or sorry, if it is a string, we will be using next line. If it is an integer, we will be using next int. Again, for email address, it is a string, that is sequence of characters. Something like abc@gmail.com is the user email address, means obviously it is a string. So sequence of characters are there. So I'm introducing a string data type and I'm going to use it. So let's run this program and see whether it is allowing me to enter all the data and print all the data. So I'm running this program. First question, what is your name? Student 1. I pressed enter. Then it is printing the captured data, that is name equal to student, it is printing. Then the subsequent question, the next question, please enter your contact number. So I'm giving some number, okay, random number I'm giving. Okay, I pressed enter. You see here, after I enter the contact number, some number I'm entering, okay? It's not 10 digit, but still it is a number I'm entering. I'm entering this number and it is printing the number, but after this printing number, what is my expectation? It should ask me, please enter the email address. Then I should enter the email address like abc@gmail.com. Then it should print the email address. But surprisingly, it doesn't ask me the input at all. It directly print a empty, a null, and it exited the program. You see, the program is exit code is 0 means the program is completed. It doesn't require any input from me. It assumes that what is the issue here? After this integer, I have entered one button, right? That enter button. So what it understood here is the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The one which I entered here is taken into the contact variable and it printed here. The enter button which I pressed in my keyboard is taken as the input to this particular question. That is the email address. Enter. I didn't type anything, just I clicked on enter. It is a empty. No data at all. That's why in this email address field you can't find anything. It is empty, it is null. So this is the issue we face when you try to read a string after a integer. Whenever you are reading a string continuously, string 1, string 2, string 3, that is name, address, email address, if you continuously read a string, then there won't be any problem. But in middle, if you read a integer, then when you try to read a string, it will create a problem in scanner. This is the tricky question, because when you go for an interview, if they ask like, can you write a program, do you have hands-on experience in getting an input, you will say that yes, I have hands-on experience. Then they will give this question and they will test whether you really have hands-on experience or not. So now here what we will be doing here is, to avoid this issue, I'm not going to add any extra code here. I am going to capture this next line. Just one line I'm going to add. So what this will do, the enter button which I typed after this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will be captured and it will be kept aside. If you want, you can have a local variable also and you can keep it aside. Then it will come to this question and then it will read the data and it will print. Let's see how it is working. Again, I'm saying I'm capturing the enter keyword and keeping it aside. I'm not going to reuse. So the enter, what I'm going to do with enter now, no value at all. So I'm going to keep it aside. Now I'm running this program. When I saying name, so again student 1, then it's asking me the contact number. Now also I'm saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and I'm pressing enter. Now can you see the cursor is alive? It is asking me to enter the email address. But in the previous execution, it doesn't ask me because it was capturing the enter, the key which I entered in my keyboard as one of the input and it's stored in the email address. Now it is not like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my input abc@gmail.com. Now you can very well see it is printing the email address. Okay, so this is a tricky question. You may think that scanner is a simple logic, but people who are in the real ground only will know this. There are a number of ways to solve it. This is the easiest way to resolve this issue. That's what I'm telling. They may give two ways they will give. Either they will give a program straight away, which I told you, read 3 inputs and print it. Either they will give like that, or they will give a code, like predefined code they will write and give it to you and they will ask, can you please debug this issue? There is an issue in this, can you please debug the code? So that way also you can do. So this is called scanner. The scanner is an inbuilt class available which is used to read the data from user. So for you to understand, I'm just printing the input which I received from user. Like I got a shoe, I got a shoe size, I got a name, I got the contact number, everything I'm reading and I am printing in the screen itself in real time. you will read the data, and that variable we have defined, right? The variable name, the variable contact, this and all you will use it for your database related activities. You will go to a database, you will try to get some data related to the name and contact entered by the user. Is it clear? Okay. So next topic what we will be seeing is, we have 5 more minutes. I'll try to start with that. I'm not sure whether we can complete it, complete in the next sessions, but I will start it because it is an interesting one. Operators. Okay, the very first operator which we are going to see now is arithmetic operator. So again, I'm creating a new demo file. Arithmetic operator demo file I'm creating. After I'm creating the file, I'm supposed to create a main method. I'm adding it. So nothing big here. Arithmetic operator is the very easiest one because we all know about these things. We all use the calculator, at least the simple calculator. You about the scientific calculator, you would have used a basic calculator in your school days, or even now wherever you get a chance to use it. So what we do in this calculator, that is plus the basic arithmetic operation, minus, multiplication, division, and modulo. I don't think I have to explain what is this because we all know this. We would have come across for sure in our life these 5 operations. So how we can do all these things? By using some operations, some operators. So if I want to plus two data, so plus is the operator. This number 3 and 2 are the operands. Nothing new. It is not a Java concept. This operator and operands are your basic mathematical terminologies. This is not related to Java at all. In your maths also, in your maths subjects would have done it. If I want to add two numbers, then I have to specify like this, 3 plus 2. So 3 and 2 are the operands, and plus is the operation I'm planning to do. If I want to do a subtraction, then I will change the operator alone. So the same thing is available in the Java also. So what we are going to do now here is, by using some variables, we are going to do here int a equal to 10, and I'm using one more variable int b equal to 2. So these two things I'm planning to do some operations, simple operations only. So first I'm planning to do a addition. So for addition, what we will do? We need two operands and one operator. So concatenation, so inside the bracket, for you to understand, to make it readable, I'm introducing a bracket. I'm saying A plus B. So I want to plus this 10 and 2. So 10 plus 2 I want to do. So I'm saying A plus B. So I'm going to execute now. You can see addition result is 12. Either you can do like this, or the best practice or the regular developer practices, they will introduce one more variable called C, and they will do like this, C equal to A plus B, and that C only, instead of having multiple brackets, to avoid this one, either you can do like this, or I will give a meaningful name itself, result. So result equal to A plus B, and that result I will be printing here. Is it clear? So I have two variables, both are integer data type. So one is having the value of 10, another is having the value of 2, and I want to do a sum, that is addition. So I can either directly give in the print statement itself. This is like if I want to just print it, I can directly give in the print statement. But in real time, we won't be just print, right? We will do some business logic. So I'm introducing a new variable that is also of an integer data type, because when you add a two integer, your result will be a number only. It is not going to be a boolean or a character. So I'll be using a number related data type, that is integer data type, and I'm adding it, I'm printing it. Now if I run this, there won't be any change in the result. Whether you are using a third variable, whether you're introducing a separate variable for this, there won't be any change. My output will be same. addition 12. If I want to do a subtraction, then here alone I will change. Okay, instead of result, I will say result. So now I'm doing a subtraction. I'm subtracting, that is 10 minus 2. My answer would be 8. It is coming as 8. Again, I'm saying I want to multiply this 10 and 2. That is 10 star 2. I'll be giving. Instead of giving 10 star 2, I'm saying A star B. So I'm expecting the result as 20. Yes, let's see that also, whether it is working fine. So it is 20. If I want to do a division, I'll be using slash. If I want to do a modulo operation, I'll be using the percentage. Regular mathematical operations. The only thing is, in Java, this is what we are doing, using a variable. Either you can have like this, or directly also you can do. I'll remove all this code. Okay. You can have a variable like int a, int b and all, or you can directly do like this also. 10 minus 2. I can run this. Directly you can hard code the value and do, but best developer recommendation again, it is not good. You should not do any hard coding like this. You should not have a number directly captured like this. Always go with the variable declaration, get the value into the variable, then do the manipulation based upon the variable. That is the best practice. So I've shown all the ways for the arithmetic operator. So operators, there are n number of operators available in Java. We will see one after the other in the next sessions. So the very first thing is arithmetic operation. It is very easy because we already done this in our school days, the basic arithmetic, plus, minus, multiplication, division and modulo. So same thing is applicable here also. You can do it. Any doubt so far?
No.
Okay.